Hello, welcome to Santuário Lunar. In this video I'm going to talk about the Greek goddess of love and beauty, Aphrodite. So Aphrodite is the Greek goddess of love and beauty, and whenever we are talking about Aphrodite, we are also talking about Venus, her Roman version. They are the same goddess and they share the same story. And they survive until today in our culture, even though most people don't even realize or they don't really know it. Whenever we talk about love or sex or things related to love and sex and even beauty, we are using words that come from Venus and Aphrodite themselves, their names. Whenever we say aphrodisiac, we are saying something related to Aphrodite, something related to desire, sexual desire. Whenever we venerate something, we are saying that we adore these things or we worship these things, just like Venus was supposed to be adored and venerated. The planet Venus itself received the name Venus after the goddess. The symbol for Venus, the alchemical symbol for Venus, is used until today to symbolize women. So they are in our culture, they are still venerated and worshipped, even though people don't even realize. And in art, it's very common to find Venus as a motif. We can also find Aphrodite, but most of them are dedicated to Venus. So Venus and Mars, and not Aphrodite and Ares. We can also find. And Venus and Aphrodite, as they are beauty themselves, when we see art throughout history and we see the different depictions for Venus and Aphrodite, we see the standards of beauty throughout history. So we can find many different versions for this goddess, as they represent how beauty was supposed to be the standard at that time. So we can find Venus thinner, fatter, long hair, short hair, many different versions. And maybe the most popular art we know today is the birth of Venus, which shows Venus emerging from the ocean. And this is exactly how her birth was supposed to have happened. Because we say she was born from the union between sky and ocean, which really means that when Kronos, Gaia and Uranus' son, wanted to protect Gaia from his own father, he cuts off his father's Uranus' penis, and the semen spills all over the earth, and one drop or some drops fall on the ocean. When it touches the ocean, a foam emerges, and from this foam, Aphrodite is born. Foam in Greek is aphros. There's another myth about her birth, which says that she's the daughter of Zeus. And the Greek knew these both versions, so they attributed to each Aphrodite a different aspect. The first one, the daughter of Uranus, was related to divine love and love between gods and also homosexual love. And the second version, daughter of Zeus, was said to be linked to love between mortals and sexual desire itself. Aphrodite was a free woman and she lived her life the way she wanted to, and she had affairs with any man she wanted to have. She didn't care for the rules, for society rules or for any other things. She was completely free. And sometimes it was a problem. It says that Zeus saw this freedom of Aphrodite as a motive, as a reason for conflict. As she was desired by many men and many gods, this could lead to conflict. Please. As being a free woman, Aphrodite had a lot of children with a lot of different men and gods. And the most important or most notorious was Eros, the erotic love. And today the word erotic comes from Eros. And Eros was the son of Aphrodite and Ares, the god of war. Even being a free woman, Aphrodite was obliged to get married, and this happened because Hephaestus, son of Hera, cast a spell on Hera. I'll talk about this on Hera's video. But in the end, to free Hera, Zeus promised him anything he wanted, and he said he wanted Aphrodite as his wife. So we see Aphrodite as an object to be captured and owned. Zeus then obliges Aphrodite to get married to Hephaestus, and they get married. Even though being married to Hephaestus, Aphrodite still has her affairs, and mainly with Ares, the god of war. Whenever Hephaestus leaves his house, Aphrodite invites Ares inside. After many encounters, Helios, the sun god, discovers it and gossips to Hephaestus that they are having these encounters inside his house. So Hephaestus has an idea and he forges a magical net. So the next time they meet, this magical net is going to trap them. And it happens. When he comes back home, he finds Aphrodite and Ares laying down on the bed, trapped by the net. So he calls all the other gods and goddesses to show how Aphrodite was cheating on him. And here we see a misogynist behavior, because we knew since the beginning that she was a free woman and she didn't want to get married. She was obliged to get married, and then she is punished for being herself. We see Hephaestus treating her like a property. Of course he was going to be trouble. So whenever we think about Aphrodite and Venus, we think about beauty and love, but we also think about fertility. She had a lot of children, and in the past she was also considered to be a goddess of fertility. And besides these beautiful aspects, we also have a dark aspect for her. She was impulsive, she was aggressive, and she was vengeful. So whenever somebody mistreated her, she would do everything she could to punish this person. And she could easily get in trouble with other gods and goddesses and even mortals for this. Another episode involving Aphrodite, which is very polemic, was the marriage of Pelos and Thetis. Zeus invited a lot of gods and goddesses for this wedding, but he didn't invite Ares, the goddess of chaos, daughter of Nyx. And when she knew she wasn't invited, as being a goddess of chaos and discord, she went to this wedding and she threw a golden apple written to the fairest. She threw this apple among Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena. So who was supposed to get this golden apple? Zeus, as being political, he didn't choose anyone, he didn't pick a side. So he couldn't decide who was going to get this apple. Then he was designed to Paris, a mortal, to judge this case and decide who was the fairest and give her this apple. So each goddess bribed Paris, offering gifts, and Aphrodite offered him the love of any woman he wanted to have. Then, of course, Paris chose Aphrodite as being the fairest, and she got this useless golden apple. To fulfill her promise, Aphrodite asks him, "Who is this woman you wanted to have, to be loved by?" And he says it's Helen from Sparta. So Aphrodite makes Helen from Sparta to be in love and get married with Paris. And this originates the Trojan War. Now, if you wish to work with Aphrodite energy and summon her and meditate with her to make your love flourish, your beauty, your sexual side, it's important to be careful to not allow this dark aspect, this shadow aspect of her to emerge, because of course we have this inside ourselves. So if we allow this impulsiveness or this vengeful side to come, the beauty, the love, and all the other aspects will be overshadowed by this. So working with Aphrodite is like this. You have to control yourself first, then let her power comes to you. And to make an offering for her, to create an altar for her, it's very simple because she likes everything which is beautiful. And her main symbols are the shells and flowers. So it's pretty easy to create an environment and invite her energy in. You can do this by creating a small altar in your bedroom, for example, with her image, with flowers and shells, with candles. Feel free and let your imagination flow, but beware of the dark aspect, never forget this. So this was goddess Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, beauty and fertility too. If you reach this point, why don't you stay with me for a while? Here you can find all the Greek goddesses I have talked about. Here you can find all the other goddesses, including the Greek ones I have talked about. And here you can subscribe to the channel to receive the updates. And if you like the video, please give a thumbs up, share with your friends and leave a comment below. Thank you.